breaking developments in the negotiations to have Judge Brett Kavanaugh's accuser publicly testify next week. But we begin tonight with news that is breaking right now. And it could have some Republicans rethinking their level of support for Judge Kavanaugh. Public opposition to his nomination to the Supreme Court is spiking. That's according to new numbers from our NBC News Wall Street Journal poll. This poll was taken during the fallout from Professor Christine Blasey Ford's allegation that Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her back in high school, which Kavanaugh vehemently denies. Support for his nomination is now technically underwater. 34% support him, 38% oppose him. This is the first time in our poll, dating back to John Roberts' nomination in 2005, that a Supreme Court nominee has been underwater. Harriet Miers, whose nomination was eventually withdrawn, had not technically gone underwater like this. Opposition against Kavanaugh has spiked 9 points since last month, and it's spiked 12 points since his naming in July. And as you can see, his support hasn't budged at all. It is basically flat. Kavanaugh's popularity is also underwater. 27% view him positively, 30% view him negatively. Poll's margin of error is 3.3%, by the way. The decline in support is being driven in part by two groups that could be monumentally important in the midterms: suburban women and independents. That's who make up a lion's share of this 9-point increase in the opposition. Folks, these numbers come as the White House today seemed to signal their concern that Kavanaugh's nomination might be dying on the vine. A person involved in his confirmation process told NBC News that it is up to Kavanaugh, aka not the White House, to determine how he's going to present himself in Monday's scheduled testimony. That's what you call a bit of distance. Here's what the source told NBC News about Kavanaugh, quote, "He has to make those decisions how he wants to tell his story. It's really the nominee's hands. It's in his hands. It's his reputation, and he knows all the facts." White House source to our own Peter Alexander. And folks, how and when Kavanaugh and Ford are going to testify has been its own subject of controversy. NBC News has confirmed that Ford's lawyer, Deborah Katz, has sent a letter to the Senate Judiciary Committee saying that her client is willing to testify under certain conditions. But she pushed back against Chairman Grassley's insistence that the hearing happen Monday without an FBI investigation. Quote, "She wishes to testify provided that we can agree on terms that are fair and which ensure her safety. A hearing on Monday is not possible, and the committee's insistence that it occur then is arbitrary in any event. Her strong preference," emphasis on strong preference there, by the way, "continues to be for the Senate Judiciary Committee to allow for a full investigation prior to her testimony." So noted, she said strong preference, but didn't indicate that she would not testify if they did not do their own investigation. Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Beat the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.